He talks to fish. He rides a seahorse. For decades, Aquaman has been the punchline of every superhero joke, written off as the Justice League's resident lame duck. He's the guy who brings a fish to a god fight, the easy jab in shows from Family Guy to The Big Bang Theory. The world sees Superman and thinks of a god. They see Batman, a peak human vigilante. They see Aquaman and think, calamari. This idea is so widespread, so baked into pop culture, that it's become accepted as fact. Aquaman is the weak link. But what if I told you that's all wrong? What if the guy who talks to fish is actually one of the most powerful beings on the planet? A warrior king whose abilities and kingdom dwarf most of his costumed colleagues? Today, we are going to tear down the 4 biggest myths that have been dragging his character down for over 80 years. So get ready to see Arthur Curry in a whole new light. By the end of this, you'll understand why underestimating the King of Atlantis is a fatal mistake. Section 1. Myth number 1. He just talks to fish. Let's start with the oldest, most damaging myth of them all. He just talks to fish. This one little phrase is the entire foundation of the lame Aquaman stereotype. It makes you picture him having a casual chat with a guppy or asking a flounder for directions. The joke writes itself. But it is also a complete misrepresentation of one of the most terrifyingly powerful abilities in the DC universe. Aquaman doesn't talk to marine life. He commands it. His power is a form of high-level marine telepathy that lets him psionically control any and all life forms that evolved from the ocean. This isn't a conversation, it's a compulsion. The comics have shown that Arthur can tap directly into the minds of sea creatures, overriding their basic functions and forcing them to obey his will. They don't talk back, they just obey. Now, think about the scale of that power. The ocean covers over 70% of our planet, and it's packed with life, from microscopic plankton to the blue whale, the largest animal to ever exist. Aquaman can command all of it at once. He doesn't just call a few sharks for backup. He can summon entire ecosystems as his personal army. We've seen him command legions of sharks to tear parademons to shreds during Darkseid's invasion. He's even used this telepathy with surgical precision. In one instance, he targeted the vestigial marine parts of a human brain to induce a seizure in a land-dwelling enemy. Think about that for a second. His fish-talking power is so advanced, he can weaponize the evolutionary echo buried in your own DNA against you. And this isn't just limited to fish. His telepathic reach extends to everything connected to the sea. Crustaceans, cephalopods, sea mammals, and even the ancient, monstrous things lurking in the deepest, darkest trenches. He has called upon colossal krakens and sea monsters that can rip battleships in half, like they were made of paper. He once threatened the villain Cheetah by summoning a school of piranhas, ready to strip her to the bone. The destructive potential here is planetary. If he wanted to, Aquaman could command every shark, whale, and giant squid on Earth to attack the coastlines of every continent, all at once. He could have swarms of jellyfish clog the cooling intakes of nuclear power plants, causing meltdowns. He could command barnacles and algae to grow so fast they foul the propellers of every ship at sea, grinding global trade to a halt. He can turn the entire ocean, the cradle of life itself, into his personal weapon. So the next time someone cracks the talks to fish joke, remember what it really means. It's not a lame party trick. It's global mind control over the most dominant biosphere on the planet. Calling it talking to fish is like calling a hurricane a light breeze. Section 2. Myth number 2. He's useless on land. All right, on to myth number 2. The idea that the second he's out of the water, Aquaman is as useless as a screen door on a submarine. This one suggests that he's a big fish in a big pond, but a flopping fish out of it. And look, this idea has roots in the old, campy Super Friends cartoon. But modern comics have violently debunked this. Far from being a pushover on land, Aquaman is a certified heavyweight, a top-tier powerhouse who can stand toe-to-toe with the Justice League's strongest, in or out of the water. The key to his power on land is where he comes from, the crushing, unforgiving pressure of the deep ocean. Arthur is an Atlantean, built to survive in an environment that would instantly crush a normal human. The pressure in the deepest parts of the ocean is like having 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of you. Aquaman doesn't just survive that, he thrives in it. His body is a biological fortress built to withstand forces that can crumple steel. When he comes to the surface, that strength and durability don't just vanish. For him, our relatively weightless, pressure-free world is like a permanent power-up. His muscles, designed to swim through water 1,000 times denser than air, let him move with explosive force. His bones and tissues, evolved to resist the abyss, make him unbelievably durable. So, how strong is he? On land, he's in the upper echelon of DC's heroes. He's thrown cars like toys and held up collapsing buildings. One of his most famous feats? Lifting a 160,000-ton ocean liner. That's not a typo. While he might not consistently match Superman in a lifting contest, he operates in the same weight class. He once threw a submarine weighing thousands of tons from the bottom of the ocean clean into the air, a feat of strength that is simply staggering. His durability is just as wild. His skin is so dense it's practically bulletproof. Regular guns are useless against him. He has taken direct, bone-shattering punches from monsters like Wonder Woman, Despero, and even Superman, and just kept on fighting. He once took a beating from a mind-controlled Superman that would have turned most heroes into a crater, and he got back up. And what about speed? He's not the Flash, but he's no slouch. His reflexes are sharp enough to deflect energy blasts, and he can leap across miles in a single bound. In the water, his speed is legendary, easily outpacing torpedoes. As if that wasn't enough, his powers on land just got a major upgrade. After the recent Absolute Power event, Arthur gained the hydrokinetic abilities of his wife, Mera. This means he can now control water with his mind, pulling moisture from the air to create hard water weapons or summoning giant cushions of water to safely land a crashing airplane. This makes him deadlier than ever, no matter where he fights. The idea that Aquaman is useless on land is just plain wrong. He's a walking tank whose strength and durability put him among the best of the best. He's a founding member of the Justice League for a reason, and it's not just for underwater missions. Section 3, myth number 3. He's just a guy with a pitchfork. If the talks to fish myth is the most common, this one is the most insulting. He's just a guy with a pitchfork. This paints Aquaman as some kind of aquatic farmer, bringing a garden tool to a cosmic gunfight. It completely ignores that Arthur Curry wields one of the most powerful artifacts in the DC universe. That pitchfork is the Trident of Neptune, and calling it a pitchfork is like calling Thor Smjolnir a hammer, or a lightsaber a glow stick. The Trident is a weapon of divine origin, an immense magical power. Now, its exact origins and powers can vary depending on which comic you're reading, but it is consistently shown to be godlike. First off, the Trident is virtually indestructible. It is sharp enough and strong enough to pierce the otherwise unbreakable skin of beings like the new god, Darkseid. Think about that. Darkseid, a monster who can take hits from the entire Justice League, was wounded by Aquaman's Trident. Zack Snyder even confirmed that in his movie universe, the Trident could cut Superman. This alone makes it one of the most formidable weapons out there. But stabbing gods is just the start. The Trident is a channel for incredible elemental magic. It gives its wielder control over water, or hydrokinesis. With it, Aquaman can part seas, summon city-destroying tsunamis, and create giant whirlpools to swallow entire naval fleets. He can also control the weather, calling down hurricanes and lightning from the sky, and even trigger earthquakes on the seafloor. In some versions, it's also been shown to unleash bolts of pure energy, teleport its user between bodies of water, and break powerful magical spells. It's not just a weapon. It's a key to his power as king. And let's not forget, for a while, he famously had a literal harpoon for a hand, and later, a magical hand made of water given to him by the Lady of the Lake. This water hand allowed him to instantly dehydrate his enemies with a touch, which is pure nightmare fuel. So, to boil all of that down to a guy with a pitchfork is to just ignore decades of comic history. The Trident is a divine weapon that gives Aquaman command over 70% of the planet's surface and the power to hurt gods. It's not a farm tool. It's a weapon of mass destruction in the hands of a king. Section 4, myth number 4. He's not a real king. This last myth is a little more subtle. It's the idea that his title, King of Atlantis, is just a cute ceremonial thing. People hear king and think of a figurehead with no real power. This completely misunderstands the scale and nature of his rule. Aquaman is the absolute monarch of a global superpower that covers more of the earth than all other nations combined. Let's put his kingdom in perspective. First off, Atlantis isn't just one city. It's a continent-spanning civilization with cities and outposts all across the world's oceans. As king, Arthur Curry's domain covers over 70% of the planet. You could fit all of Earth's continents into the Pacific Ocean with room to spare. Aquaman rules all of that. By territory alone, he is the single most powerful political leader on Earth. And his kingdom isn't some primitive society. Atlantis is a technologically and magically advanced civilization, centuries ahead of the surface world in many ways. They have energy weapons, incredible vehicles, and a mastery of magic we've long forgotten. As their king, Aquaman commands a massive army, and these aren't regular soldiers. They're all superpowered beings, adapted to the deep sea with strength and speed far beyond any surface dweller. An entire army of super soldiers is at his beck and call. Storylines like Throne of Atlantis showed us what happens when that army goes to war with the surface. It's a global crisis that takes the full power of the Justice League to stop. Aquaman's job as king is also one of immense responsibility. He's a diplomat, a commander, and he has to navigate the treacherous politics of his own people while managing relations with the surface. He is the only member of the Justice League who is also the head of state of a global power. In fact, his kingship is a constant source of conflict. He's been overthrown, forced to abdicate, and has had to fight to reclaim his throne multiple times. As of early 2025 in the comics, solicitations show that Atlantis itself will be lost or destroyed, leaving him a king without a home on a desperate quest to find his missing kingdom. This constant struggle doesn't make him less of a king. It shows just how heavy that crown really is. So, let's recap. Talks to fish? No. He telepathically commands the entire ocean. Useless on land? Nope. He's a physical powerhouse forged in the abyss. Just a guy with a pitchfork? Hardly. He wields a divine weapon that can control the elements and wound gods. Not a real king? He's the monarch of a global superpower that controls over 2/3 of the planet. The image of the lame B-list Aquaman is a meme, a joke born from an old cartoon that just doesn't hold up anymore. He's a warrior, a diplomat, and a king, burdened by the weight of two worlds. Far from being the Lord of the Lame, Arthur Curry is a planetary-level powerhouse who has more than earned his place as one of the greatest heroes in the DC universe. But what do you think? Has your opinion of Aquaman changed? And what other hero do you think is criminally underrated? Let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.